J&K government shuts more than half of tourist sites. That's a breaking update in the aftermath of the horrific attack in Pahalgam. More than half of the tourist sites have been shut in J&K.
That's right. The government of J&K has shut down these sites over security concerns, including 48 resorts that have been shut down. So this is a move that has been taken in regard to, of course, this comes in the backdrop of the attack on the tourists in Pahalgam. The J&K, do remember, the Forest Department had also decided to close all its trekking destination. Nazir joining us with the breaking news. Nazir, take us through the latest of this move that's been taken by the government.
Well, based on the security assessment, the government has shut around 48 tourist resorts and destinations across Kashmir. There are near 90 or 87 tourist resorts in the destinations in Kashmir, and 48 have been shut. It is seen as a part of preventive measure to ensure that security forces are not stretched out there, because given the way we have seen things played out here in Pahalgam, just a week ago, 26 tourists were killed in Pahalgam's serene meadow, which is just 5 kilometers from here, from Pahalgam town. So perhaps one advisory could have saved prevented the incident or avoided this massacre, because security force already had intelligence that terrorists may be attacking some hotel, which means attacking tourists. But somehow there was no advisory that time asking people not to go to isolated places. But now there's 48 resorts and destinations have been closed for tourists, which includes Usmurg, which includes Doodhpatri, which is in Budgam, Bangas Valley in Kupara, Chandigam, Kupara Valley, even the garden, these Verinag gardens as well, and Akkad Park, and so many places across Kashmir. So at a time when we say that people have spoken in unequivocal terms, clearly condemning terrorism, and they are saying this should be the last thing, the last incident in the valley. Yesterday we saw in the assembly how every member from all the parties has spoken one voice against terrorism. What I know is, last week Chief Minister Umar Abdullah held a meeting with the stakeholders, and he was informed there that some of the stakeholders said some of the destinations have been shut that time. Only a few were shut soon after this incident. Then he was informed by the Director of Tourism and the police, look, it is very temporary. But now what we are hearing that 48 destinations, which is more than the half of total number of tourist destinations across Kashmir, which have been shut because as a preventive measure after Pahalgam terror attack.
Right, Nazir, and as you've been pointing out over the last few days, you've spoken about how people are standing in unity. There is a rare unity that you're seeing in all parts of Kashmir, irrespective of what people's backgrounds are. People from all over really uniting as far as the terror, as far as the fight against terrorism is concerned. So, but what is the kind of loss of livelihood now that we're breaking the story about how several of these tourist spaces will be shut across J&K? What is the kind of loss of livelihood that you're seeing? What is the kind of response to this closure? And what is the expectation of the locals as far as the revival of many of these places are concerned?
Well, it may take long time to revive these places. Right now, the news is they have been closed. It means terrorists have not just, killed 26 innocent people, massacred them. They have killed the livelihood of the people of Kashmir as well. Many people had invested heavily. They had taken loans, built infrastructure in places which were not known as tourist destinations, made them beautiful places. But the fact is now, because of this terror attack, as a preventive measure, all these things have been, shut. Let me show you the Pahalgam town here. Just a week ago, it was a bustling marketplace, full of tourists, and police had a tough time to regulate traffic. But now this is the condition of Pahalgam town. Though tourists have come in much reduced number, they are returning much reduced number, but it is too little in comparison to what it used to be a week ago. So this is the kind of impact this terrorist attack, this massacre has, which is clearly on expected lines. You can't have and what is bigger worry, while the people have spoken loudly They have come out strongly against terrorism, violence and this massacre. What people are waiting for is when will security or central government deliver when it comes to the, tracking down the attackers. A massive operation is underway in forests in Pahalgam for last 1 week. But so far there is no indication if terrorists their security forces are anywhere close to tracking down these terrorists. We have been reporting for last 3-4 years since this Pakistan-backed these terrorists, they entered Jammu and Kashmir. They appear to be well trained, particularly in the jungle warfare. We have seen kind of attacks they have carried out on the security force, particularly army in Jammu region from Kutwa to Poonch, Rajouri and Kishtwar. Now we see same bunch of these terrorists who have appeared in these forests. One of them is said to be linked to SSG group of Pakistani commandos, who was part of that horrible massacre of innocent people. So when you have these hardened, dreaded terrorists, they are operating in these jungles, it is a huge challenge for the security forces, not just to track them down to give some justice to the victim families, but also ensure this place is free from militancy, free from shadow of terror, because Amarnath Yatra is just less than 2 months away, and Pahalgam is the base camp of Amarnath Yatra. So it is a huge challenge for the security forces to ensure that this place remains terror-free. But as part of the precautionary measures, this is something they have done. Close tourist destinations or the sites and some of the resorts as well, where they fear they could be vulnerable to some incidents. That's why they have been closed. People on their side have spoken loudly. They have made it clear that terrorism is unacceptable. They have made it clear that killing innocent people, particularly tourists, is completely unacceptable. We have seen the sentiment which was on the streets, reflected in the assembly yesterday, how leaders across party lines, they actually spoke in non-partisan way from BJP, PDP, People's Conference, CPIM, and then a very emotional and strong speech by Chief Minister Umar Abdullah. He named everyone who were killed, killed in this horrible massacre, and then said, "These people have this. It would be a beginning of end of terrorism. We have to build on that public sentiment which we have seen on the streets against terrorism." But many believe that sentiment may be dampened because of what Chief Minister called misplaced action. We have seen several houses were demolished, 2 civilians killed in some incidents. Who is behind that, we don't know. There are mass arrests. So that sentiment, Chief Minister was talking, we need to build on that and fight against terrorism. He said you can control militancy through security forces, but you can eliminate militancy only with the support of the people. And he said we need support of the people, and the people's mood, people coming out openly against terrorism is the beginning of end of terrorism. So right now we see a week after this massacre here in Pahalgam, while security forces are engaged in a massive operation here in this area. Political leaders have spoken and people have also spoken, but as a preventive measure, these tourist destinations has been shut by the government across Jammu and Kashmir.